Today, I have prepared for you the top 15 best card games of all time. I hope you will definitely find something interesting for yourself. If the game you were waiting for didn't make it to the top, it means it's in 16th place or so good that it flew into space, and I was afraid of its dazzling shine. First of all, I want to start my top with the legend of card games. This is, of course, Hearthstone, and I'm not giving her any specific place in this top. Here, I'm sure no one will argue with me. Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft, is a cross-platform online collectible card game based on the Warcraft universe, developed by Blizzard Entertainment and distributed under the free-to-play model. You play against an opponent. Your task is to reduce his life to 0 or less. In this, the player is helped by creature cards, weapons, and magic, as well as the hero's class ability. The deck size in all modes is 30 cards. There can be no more than 2 identical cards in a deck. Legendary cards cannot be paired. There are several different battlefields. Some battlefield scenery is interactive. The battlefield is selected randomly and does not affect the game in any way. At the beginning of the game, each player receives 3 random cards. Each player has 0 mana. To determine who goes first, a coin is tossed. To even the odds of winning, the player who goes second receives an additional card and a card with a coin on it. Players continue to move until one player loses. A loss occurs when the hero's life total becomes less than or equal to 0. If both heroes have 0 health, then this match does not affect progress in any way. For example, in a ranked game, the player does not lose or gain stars. If one of the players runs out of cards, then instead of a card, the player draws fatigue. Fatigue increases with every move. The first time a player must draw a card, it deals 1 damage, the second time it deals 2, and so on. I became acquainted with the game at its launch when it appeared on phones and learned from Vilsacom. He said it was a must-have, and so it happened. I've been addicted to this game for 5 years. I played it all the time in my free time, and what's terrible is that it was difficult for me to move away from her because it is endless. You just try to become a legend every season. And it's great that with each update they added campaigns, new modes, and maps. And you Google top decks to quickly grab a legend. At one time, I even went to a local tournament and watched Hearthstone tournaments like football, not to mention the different streamers on Twitch. In general, the game took up a lot of my time, and I didn't hate myself for playing instead of self-development, studying useful books and resources. I don't know what it is right now, and it's most likely difficult for beginners to start because they need epic and legendary cards. But from the old spiritual memory of the game, I warmly recommend it to you. Now, I think we can move on to the top itself. Root is a strategy with simulator elements, offering to experience an asymmetrical type of combat. The action will take place in the forest where anthropomorphic creatures live. Create your faction and lead it to victory in this bloody forest war. The gameplay of Root is designed for both one player and a company of up to 4 people. The story begins with the vile Marcus de Cote taking over the area, trying to get rich with the help of natural resources and treasures. Forest creatures create an alliance to resist the tyrant. The association recruits into its ranks everyone who does not agree with the regime. However, at this time another warring party appears, the Eagle's Nest. You, as a player, have to decide which faction has the right to take root. The gameplay is based on resource collection. Collect wood to build workshops, sawmills, or a recruiting shed. Each building type earns points. If 2 identical buildings are built, the points are multiplied. Wood is closely tied to economics. Trade with other factions or raid their villages. The Eagle dynasties once ruled the lands, even before the cats came to them. They are trying to return everything that rightfully belongs to them. The Forest Alliance hates despots and tyrants. They believe that only the will of the people can govern the territories. The Vagabond faction is available, representing merchants, robbers, and vagabonds rolled into one. They can interact with all other organizations and carry out their tasks. Duelyst II is a fan remake of the popular game Duelyst from Bandai Namco. It is a turn-based strategy game that allows the player to place minions and spells to defeat the enemy general. The game offers a training mode, puzzle-like challenges, and a ranked season ladder. If you're interested, this guide will help you understand how to be a duelist. Duelyst will pit 2 players on a 5x9 battlefield, battling each other until one general's health reaches 0. Generals start the game with a maximum of 25 health points and an attack power of 2. In turn, players will be given the ability to summon minions, cast spells, and even use artifacts. Generals are considered king pieces in chess and players must protect them at all costs. Players are given a fixed amount of mana per turn to support their general by casting spells or summoning minions to help them dominate the battlefield. Players spend mana to move their unit or cast a support spell to counter an enemy. At the start of each turn, the mana bar will refresh and players can receive up to a maximum of 9 cores. Players need to take control of one of the 3 mana tiles in the center of the board to increase their mana cores. However, players must control mana tiles at the beginning of the game in order to use additional cards that will help players defeat the opposing general. Players can use different types of cards in the game, and the mana cost is listed in the top left corner of the cards. The first type of card players can use is a minion card. Minions can be summoned to a friendly tile marked in yellow. Like the general, they have attack and health, as well as movement by default, so you can attack them or defend your general. Players must use their resources wisely to keep the enemy general's health at 0. If you are a beginner, it may be difficult at first, but once you get used to how to manage your mana cores, keep practicing and honing your skills in this epic turn-based game. Shadowverse CCG is a role-playing adventure with elements of a card game, made in anime style. The gameplay is a multiplayer turn-based trading card game in which you will travel through a huge fantasy world and fight a huge variety of creatures. A single-player story mode is available, as well as a variety of quick battles. Build your deck by developing a unique and inimitable style. Lots of additional maps, daily challenges, and bonuses, as well as a constantly active community. Shadowverse will not let you get bored for a second. All characters are fully voiced. The visual side is distinguished by high detail and elaborate animations. The gameplay stands out for its excellent balance due to the reduction of RNG, unlike many other similar games in the genre. Famous Japanese artists worked on the map images. Depending on the assembled deck, the style of play changes. Collect cards and customize your unique party. Each creature or character has its own attack patterns and characteristics. There are many leaders, classes, mechanics, and tactics waiting for you. Each playthrough is always different from the previous one due to incredible replayability. Xian, the Cultivation card game, is an online DBG dedicated to decks. On the path to improvement, you will have to draw many cards. Xian offers you a huge selection of cards. To create a deck that's truly worth fighting, you'll have to handpick the best cards. Once you think you have a deadly deck, you need to take it into battle and see if it really deserves to be called a combat deck. The game purposefully gives you a lot of cards to sort. You will have to decide for yourself which cards are suitable for your deck and which are not. In addition to regular cards, you can also select by profession and receive cards specific to that sub-profession to add to your deck. There are also special cards called opportunity cards that allow you to customize your deck. These cards are rare. To further separate players from each other, there will also be an opportunity to choose your fate during the game. Fate depends on your choice of character and sect and will change various aspects of the game. Taken together, all of these changes make each playthrough unique. In addition, players are allowed to start the game over and try a new path by creating a different deck. WINGSPAN is a collectible card game based on the board game of the same name. The version for personal computers is designed for sessions from 1 to 5 people. Players play the role of ornithologists, studying new species of birds and trying to collect and bring to the natural reserve as many rare individuals as possible. By collecting various birds around the world, more points go to those who manage to get hold of a unique and endangered species. Using a deck of cards, players create various chains of events and properties in a specific habitat. What kind of environments these will be is determined individually and depends on the method of development of the reserve. Wings has a huge variety and variability. The game will progress all the time and provide new opportunities. Initially, a basic set of maps will be available, but the more the reserve develops, the more opportunities will be available for further play. The gameplay allows you to compete not only with friends or random people from the network, but also to try your hand at a single-player game against artificial intelligence. Black Book is a fusion of card RPG and classic adventure game. The plot centers on a story about a young witch fighting to save her dead lover. The main character, a certain Vasilisa, has the ability to perform dark magic. One day she falls in love with a young man and longs to marry him. However, to do this, she has to stop her witchcraft activities, which Vasilisa does. The sacrifice was in vain. Her fiancé suddenly dies under unknown circumstances. The heroine longs to find out the truth and take revenge, and the Black Book will help her in this, an artifact that fulfills any desire of the owner after removing 7 seals from the book pages. The plot is based on Slavic northern mythology. Vasilisa knows how to summon and control demons, but they always need to be given some kind of task. Otherwise, the main character herself will fall under attack. The Black Book has its own encyclopedia to help you get acquainted with legends and myths, created by experienced experts in local folklore and anthropologists. The northern area where the plot takes place is available for gamers to explore. This territory is dominated by the Russian Empire, a good chance to join the knowledge of the country's past. This is further encouraged by the presence of mysterious stories and logical puzzles. Vasilisa constantly discovers new skills and upgrades as the seals in the book are removed. Becoming more experienced and strong, it is easier for her to resist the forces of darkness. Across the Obelisk is a co-op game with role-playing elements and building your own deck. The gameplay features single and multiplayer modes. Participants choose a variety of heroes, gain access to new items and cards, creating a set of characters. After this, you will have to fight monsters and bosses in deep tactical battles. Procedural generation creates the map, hazards, and drop rates for all items, allowing for infinite replayability. Equipment provides additional bonuses and effects such as bloodshed, poisons, defensive or offensive skills. Many combinations will help increase the chance of critical damage and other aspects. As you progress, there will be many randomly created paths and quests that change the world. Gamers are able to control fire wizards, shadow magicians, healers, riders, and other warriors. KARDS is a strategy with elements of a card game in the setting of World War II. The gameplay combines classic real-time combat with innovative TCG mechanics. You lead an army, fighting against units that are led by artificial intelligence or other players. Battles take place on land, in the air, and at sea. The controls are simple and the rules are very easy to learn. Set up your front line to provide yourself with good protection. Gather support resources and challenge the enemy. Blitzkrieg tactics are available in KARDS, allowing you to instantly end the fight. Conquer airspace or go into deep defense, defending yourself from enemy attacks. Any operation depends on how you manage your troops. Distribute resources, invest credits correctly, buying new units or a support army. The cards consist of 5 faction decks, each of which has its own unique fighting style. All decks have only one allied nation. Choose allies who can support you. Combine units to create your own unique strategy. The game is free. Library of Ruina is a story-based expansion for Lobotomy Corporation, transformed into a card-based role-playing game. The player is invited to become the owner of the library and see the story of 3 heroes, Angela, Sephiroth, and Roland from the Lobotomy Corporation. However, the method of replenishing books is very unusual. You need to kill enemies, who, after defeat, turn into books. Various hostile NPCs will visit the building. The more interesting the books, the more interesting guests will be in visiting the library. Many manuscripts keep their secrets. The gameplay is represented by battles, where cards are used that allow you to perform one or another action, as well as various anomalies. They are unique in each room. Anomalies can have different effects, including positive and negative. All units have their own cards and equipment. To get new items and cards, you need to burn books. Bound pages are available on all floors, whereas previously floors only provided access to certain books. By building a deck, the protagonist will begin to have new abilities and movesets. Cards are divided by rarity, expressed by colors: green, blue, purple, and gold. Building a deck provides endless possibilities, where any card can make the gameplay unique. In the game, you can create your character using the built-in editor. Since each type of equipment is unique and has its own specifics, some items can only be worn by a specific class of hero. Library of Ruina retains the corporate structure carried over from the previous game. Luke Hero is a role-playing game with strategy and CCG elements. The villain Lich has placed the world in an endless loop and plunged all inhabitants into chaos. You will use a mystical deck of cards to build buildings and fight enemies. Complete numerous challenges as you travel along the loop. Become a hero of your people and rid the world of endless chaos. Traveling around the world, get powerful relics for the heroes. There is a class system that allows you to develop unique tactics against enemies. Before you go into a dangerous battle, equip yourself with a variety of different weapons. Expand the list of survivors and recruit new units to your squad. Unlock new classes, find cards, and get bonuses. The main goal in Luke Hero is to break the cycle of suffering. All actions are tied to interaction with a deck of cards. All game elements are randomly generated. Each new launch guarantees unique adventures. Make different choices when choosing the paths along which you will travel. Any chosen path is dangerous in its own way. Destroying enemies on your way, equip yourself with improved armor and weapons that you can collect from defeated monsters. Use resources to improve the camp or protagonists. Fight powerful bosses, minions of the powerful Lich. By overcoming all obstacles, you can break the vicious circle. Minion Masters is a fascinating and unusual hybrid of two genres that are quite rare: a collectible card game and a tower defense game. Developers from the indie team Beddedwarf focused on content for multiplayer, both PvP and PvE, developing their brainchild in this direction, but single-player game modes are also present. Artificial intelligence will be an excellent trainer before going online, where knowledge of mechanics is welcome and the presence of a run-in deck. The game supports connecting a gamepad to control gameplay and the main menu. There is also a list of achievements and an in-game store where purchases are made for real money. Minion Masters contains a huge database of cards for various purposes. The gamer needs to assemble a balanced deck where there is room for both towers and spells, as well as different types of warriors that are needed to attack enemy defenses. The moves take place alternately. Players play their cards depending on the needs and chosen tactics to conquer enemy territory by completely destroying the opponent's base. All characters and buildings have characteristics that affect their usefulness on the battlefield and the cost of summoning. A rarer and more powerful card will require more resources to summon than a standard one without outstanding stats. The game is free. In Stacklands, you have to build a village by completing various levels in the style of a deck-building battler. Users will collect food, construct buildings, and fight monsters on a special field using ability cards. You need to use card combinations. For example, when you move a village dweller to a berry bush, berries will appear, which the city dweller will consume as food and get a chance to survive. The main task for players will be to think through a strategy, playing cards in the correct order in order to expand the village, trying to bring it to prosperity. Stacklands players need to earn coins, which will allow them to purchase new abilities or character cards. In the game, you will have to expand your deck in order to get more options for developing your settlement. It will be possible to focus on cooking, agriculture, construction, and other areas of activity. It is necessary to keep the population well-fed so that the townspeople do not die of hunger at the end of each turn of the moon. During the course of the game, users can expect more than 100 cards to collect, 25+ ideas to search for, 50+ quests, 7 deck-building sets, and a single-player campaign designed for 3 to 5 hours of real-time gameplay. Gamers will also engage in battles with fantasy creatures such as goblins, wild bears, evil rats, etc. You will be able to upgrade your residents by giving them weapons and improving their combat abilities. In Slay the Spire, the gamer's main task is to climb to the upper levels of a tower consisting of many rooms. During the passage, you can have one of 4 characters, collect a collection of cards, defeat intermediate enemies, and defeat the main villain. The locations and forks of the tower are constantly changing. The whole process can be divided into 3 acts, and at the end of each of them, the main character must defeat the local boss. The rooms in the game are of a different nature. There are arena rooms with enemies, there are recreation rooms, as well as shops, treasuries, and quest rooms. The combat system in Slay the Spire is turn-based. Each character has his own deck, and the card drawn determines the next move. The player can perform an attack or receive a curse from the opponent. In addition to attackers and cursors, there are also status or neutral cards, as well as talents and skills unique to each hero class. The higher the level of climbing the tower, the larger and stronger the deck under the user's control. But in case of defeats or unsuccessful completion of quests, cards appear that harm the player himself. Inscription is a card adventure with roguelike elements that focuses on the fact that the darkness still hides many unknown secrets. The strategy is made in an escape the room format, has multiple puzzles, and a terrifying atmosphere. The user is transported to the Goblin's hut, where he needs to embark on dangerous adventures to find out what secrets are hidden in this building. The events take place in a forest house, where the protagonist is trapped by some sinister creature who wants the guy to play board games with him. In the process, the gamer acts on a three-dimensional map, where he makes moves, choosing certain cards, simultaneously exploring the house and solving puzzles. The hero's task is to survive, despite the horrors that occur in the hut itself. The player gradually assembles a card deck from forest inhabitants, mutated animals that look scary due to the surgery that was once performed on them, as well as frightening experiments. The user needs to solve logical problems in order to get out of the locked building in the process. But as they progress, reality ceases to border on fantasy, and an ordinary game turns out to be not at all what was expected at the beginning. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is an exciting card game that continues the famous series. The project's storyline includes narrative elements familiar from the original series and completely unique moments. The game features thousands of interesting cards with their own effects and features, as well as dozens of new heroes. Choose a storyline and go on hundreds of unusual missions. During missions, you will inevitably encounter many enemies, which can only be defeated with a deck of cards. Each of the characters involved has their own set of unique skills and abilities. These abilities determine his battle tactics and behavior in the battle arena. Defeat your opponents and expand your deck of cards. Learn new effects and spells that you can use in fights. You will also have the opportunity to try your hand at unusual duel missions, where the result will depend on individual actions. Become the next hero in this amazing world of card battles and achieve success in exciting battles. The game is free. This is how it turned out to be an interesting and rich TOP. Write in the comments which game I forgot.